Hello friends. You are on the DeepMind channel. Here we analyze the philosophy of success and personal growth strategy. Today, we are immersed in the wisdom of Jim Rohn and discover 7 fundamental steps towards wealth and happiness. Stock up on notebooks. In a moment, you will get tools that can change your life forever. Jim Rohn was a world-renowned business philosopher. He developed corporate strategies for Coca-Cola, IBM, Xerox, General Motors, and others. He served as the personal business coach for Bill Gates. He holds a controlling stake in Dodge. In his own words, the most promising and dynamic sector of the global economy today is the wellness industry. The industry of healthy living. I am constantly working on the development of my own character. And I must admit, it is the most difficult task of all. The business of personal development continues throughout one's entire life. You see, who you become is far more important than what you get. The crucial question to ask yourself when you begin any endeavor is not, what will I get? But rather, what will I become? Getting and becoming are like Siamese twins. What you become directly determines what you get. Think of it this way. Most of what you have today you have received because of the person you have become. So the great axiom of life is this: to have more than you've gotten, become more than you are. That is the field on which you must focus the bulk of your attention. Otherwise, you simply battle life's immutable axiom of no change. If you don't change who you are, you will always have what you already have. Your level of income seldom exceeds your level of personal development. Sometimes you may experience a sudden rise in income, but if you have not learned how to handle it responsibly, it will usually fall back to its former level just as quickly. When I turned 25, I met a man named Earl Schoff. Little did I know then how profoundly that meeting would change my life. Up until that point, my life had been depressingly typical of the vast majority of people who lead gray existences without great success or true happiness. One day, looking truth in the face, I realized my financial situation was not improving. It was getting worse by the day. Something had to change. But what? Maybe hard work alone wasn't enough, I thought. That was a startling revelation for me, especially since I'd always believed that reward comes to those who toil in the sweat of their brow. It became clear that although I had indeed been working in the sweat of my brow, if I continued that way, by the time I was 60, I would end up just like many people I knew, utterly broke and dependent on others. The thought horrified me. I couldn't accept that prospect, especially not in the wealthiest country on earth. I had more questions than answers. What should I do? How should I change the direction of my life? So there I was at 25, far from my dreams, and I didn't know the sure path to a better life. Then luck, my lucky break, came to me. Why did it happen at that moment in my life? Why do good events occur precisely when they should? I really don't know. It remains one of life's mysteries to me. In any case, my break came when I met a very special man named Earl Schoff. I first saw him at a sales conference where he was leading a seminar. I can't recall exactly what he said that night to captivate me so, but I remember thinking, I will do whatever it takes to become like him. Over the next 5 years, I absorbed countless life lessons from Mr. Schoff. He treated me like a son and spent hours teaching me his personal philosophy, which I now call the 7 strategies for wealth and happiness. The importance of mentors in life. I realized that the greatest gift he gave me was not the job or even the opportunity to rise from sales instructor to executive vice president of his company. The most valuable thing was the wisdom of his life philosophy and his fundamental principles for achieving success, how to become wealthy, and how to become happy. During the ensuing 5 years, I applied his ideas to my own life, and I became prosperous. I actually earned a significant sum of money, but my greatest satisfaction came from sharing these ideas with my business partners and employees. The response was enthusiastic, and the results were immediate and dramatic. Although I considered myself first and foremost a businessman, not an author or speaker, I felt compelled to convey these ideas to others in a simple, direct way to show how dramatically a person's life can change. 1. The basics. First, let's examine the word basics. I define basics as the fundamental principles on which any achievement is built. Basics form the foundation and reality upon which everything that truly matters rests. There is an absurdity in the phrase new basics. It would be like someone claiming to have produced new works of classical art. Suspicious, isn't it? No. The basic principles have remained the same since biblical times and will endure to the end of time. Let's apply basics to the concept of success. If you strive for genuine, lasting success that's built on solid ground, you must avoid exotic shortcuts. Despite what you may hear, success is a simple process. It doesn't fall from the sky. There's nothing magical or mysterious about it. Success is simply the natural result of the consistent application of basic principles of achievement in life. The same holds true for happiness and wealth. They are likewise the natural result of consistently applying the basic principles of happiness and wealth in your life. The key to success is not to deviate from the basic principles. Half-dozen core components. Mr. Shoaff, my mentor, once told me, "Jim, there are always half a dozen core components that account for 80% of the difference in results." Half a dozen core components. That is the key insight. Whether we act to improve our health, increase our wealth, or elevate our personal or professional performance, the difference between triumphant success and bitter failure is determined by our ability to identify, study, and apply those half a dozen core components. So before starting any new project or setting new goals, ask yourself, what are the half a dozen core components that will determine most of the difference in my results? In whatever field one engages, be it visual art or music, mathematics or physics, sports or business, there are always half a dozen core components that are critical. Understanding and applying this simple principle is your first step toward realizing your dreams and goals. 2. Wealth. The second key word to define is wealth. Wealth is a loaded term because it conjures a variety of images and sometimes contradictory ideas. After all, each of us views wealth from our own perspective. To one person, wealth may mean having enough money to do whatever he wants. To another, it means freedom from debt, the absence of constant debt obligations. To a third person, wealth may mean the ability to grow and achieve success. But these distinctions spark creativity, and creativity helps each of us find our unique path to a life of abundance. For most people who don't contemplate it deeply, the word wealth simply equates to millionaire. Ah, that thrilling word. It embodies success, freedom, power, influence, pleasure, opportunity, and benevolence. Of course, the idea of becoming a millionaire is not a bad mental image. Moreover, wealth encompasses not only economic concepts. We can speak of wealth of experience, wealth of friendship, wealth of love, wealth in family life, and cultural wealth. But for our purposes here, we must focus on the meaning of wealth that denotes financial freedom. Wealth created by converting effort and entrepreneurial activity into money and assets. What does wealth truly mean to you? How much money do you need to feel financially free? These are not idle questions. As you will soon see, the clearer you define your material wealth, the more you'll benefit from the ideas in this book. 3. Happiness. The term happiness embodies what everyone seeks. Happiness is joy, usually linked to positive activity. Yet like wealth, happiness carries multiple, sometimes conflicting meanings. Happiness can be the joy of discovery or the joy of knowledge. It often accompanies those who fully embrace life's colors, sounds, and harmony. Happiness is also the joy of those who plan their lives carefully and then live them with artistry. It is the ability to respond to life's gifts by accepting and celebrating them. You can experience happiness both by giving and by receiving, by reaping rewards and by offering gifts. Happiness is the capacity to enjoy both the harmony of life and a simple meal, ideas, and bread. It comes to those who expand their horizons and enrich their experiences. So how do you catch the bluebird of happiness? Surprisingly, by understanding and applying a concept seldom associated with happiness: discipline. Fourth, discipline. If there is one decisive component upon which both wealth and happiness depend, it is discipline. Yet when most people hear the word discipline, negative images spring to mind, from a drill sergeant to a strict school teacher wielding a ruler. Nevertheless, I assure you, discipline holds the key to realizing your dreams and desires. Surprised? Then let's define what we mean by discipline. Discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. It is the glue that binds inspiration to achievement. It is the magic power that turns financial necessity into inspired artistry. Discipline comes to those who understand that to fly a kite, you must head into the wind, that all good things in life are achieved by those willing to swim upstream, that drifting aimlessly leads only to bitterness and disappointment. Discipline is the foundation upon which all success is built. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. Discipline is the master key that opens the doors to wealth and happiness, culture and refinement, high self-esteem and great achievements, along with accompanying feelings of pride, satisfaction, and success. What must you do to cultivate discipline? First, you must recognize its importance in your life. Begin by asking yourself, what must I accomplish in my life? What changes must I make to reach my goals? Second, honestly ask yourself, am I willing to do what it takes? If your answer is yes, then you must make a long-term commitment to follow your rules thoughtfully, deliberately, and consistently. Discipline attracts opportunity. Empowering opportunities invariably come to those who have developed their abilities and are committed to action. Those who pledge to achieve lofty goals through discipline will seize opportunities that more timid people will fear to touch. Discipline is the unique process of rational thinking and action that puts an end to irresponsibility and paves the way for courtesy, that fosters positive deeds and restrains negative thoughts, that stimulates success and refuses to bow to failure, that improves health and banishes disease. Anyone can become a disciplined person. You can start this transformation gradually, one step at a time. The inspiring truth is, you can start today. Action versus self-deception. Why do people say one thing yet act in direct contradiction to their words? The man who dreams of wealth but continues on the path to inevitable financial ruin, or the woman who yearns for happiness but whose thoughts and actions drive her towards certain disappointment, both fall victim to the false hope that words alone will bring results. Why? Because words comfort us, and like narcotics, lull us into complacency. Remember, to make real progress, you must actually begin. There are many other types of plans you can make. If you are ill, start by making a plan to improve your health. Do you constantly feel tired? Then plan how to replenish your energy. Feel undereducated? Fine, plan to advance your education. If you claim, I can't, then start with a plan, I can. Anyone can. Even the worst person can start reading good books. The key is to take the first step. today. Whatever your project, begin today. Begin cleaning out your desk, today. Begin with your first goal, today. Begin listening to podcasts that motivate you, today. Begin planning to lose weight, today. Begin making one call a day to a demanding customer, today. Begin depositing money into your investment for future account, today. Write that overdue letter, today. Why not let some driving force support your new commitment to a better life? See how many activities you can include in your commitment to a better life. Cast off the gravity that pulls you down. Fire up your engines. Prove to yourself that the time for waiting and hoping is over. The time for faith and action is now. This is a new day, a new beginning of your new life. By embracing discipline, you'll be amazed at how much progress you can make. What do you have to lose other than past mistakes and fears? Now, I urge you to ensure the first day of your new endeavor becomes part of a week of new beginnings. Go on and see how many things you can start and continue during your week of new beginnings. Then, let it become a month of new beginnings. And then a year of new beginnings. By the end of your first year of new beginnings, the past, old habits, old influences, old regrets, old failures will never return. As the Bible says, you will be ready to soar on wings like eagles. Sixth, success. Success is the fifth key word. Like the other concepts we've explored, it carries multiple meanings and is somewhat paradoxical. Ultimately, success is both the journey and the destination, isn't it? Success is the steady, measured progress toward a goal as well as the attainment of that goal. Success is the culminating achievement and the practical wisdom gained by those who recognize life's potential power. Success is the appreciation and development of true values through discipline. Success can be material or spiritual, real or perceived. It's the shift from something to something better, from inactivity to activity, from candy to fruit, from spending to investing. Success is the response to the call to change, grow, develop, and become, to move to a better position for a more advantageous outcome. But above all, success is the ability to shape your life into what you truly want it to be. Considering all the possibilities and the lives of those you admire, what do you really want from your life? That is a serious question. Remember, success is not a set of borrowed cultural standards, but rather a personal collection of clearly defined and finally achieved values. 7. Goals. What motivates people? I began to master the art and science of goal setting. Of all I learned in those early days, goal setting had the most profound impact on my life. Every aspect of my existence, my achievements, my income, my bank account, my lifestyle, my rewards, even my character, improved. I am so convinced that mastering the power of goal setting can profoundly affect your life that I devote substantial space to discussing this often misunderstood process. I urge you to do more than simply read these chapters. Study them, and if you have a notebook at hand, even better. The power of dreams. Each life is influenced by many factors. Our environment, where we live, our parents, our schools, our friends, each plays a role. We are also shaped by life events. For example, war can completely upheave our spirit. Our knowledge, or lack thereof, affects our lives. Our achievements can give us pride or leave us empty. But no factor has as much potential power as our ability to dream. Dreams are projections of the life we want. When we allow our dreams to pull us forward, they unleash creative energy that can overcome any obstacle to achieving our goals. But to unleash that energy, our dreams must be clearly defined. A vague future has little pull. To truly realize your dreams, to let future plans draw you forward, they must be vivid and clear. 8. The the 4 great motivators. One important question you must answer: what motivates me? Different things motivate different people. We each have our own trigger strings. If you are on a spiritual quest, you will identify your personal motivators. Beyond the obvious desire to increase financial income, 4 other major motivators stand out. Recognition. Smart managers know some people will do more for recognition than for material rewards. That's why top sales organizations, especially in direct sales, invest heavily in recognizing every achievement, big or small. They understand that in our overcrowded world, most people feel unnoticed and insignificant, and recognition validates their worth. The thrill of victory. This is one of the best motivators. If you must have a preference, let it be for winning. I have millionaire friends who still work 10 to 12 hours a day, not because they need money, but for the rush of victory, the joy, pleasure, and satisfaction it brings. Money alone no longer motivates them. Victory does. Family. Some will do for loved ones what they would never do for themselves. Charity. The desire to share one's wealth is a powerful motivator. 9. Make goals. Work for you. The Bible says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." True. But do you know the opposite is also true? Our visions can transform us in unique and unprecedented ways. In earlier chapters, I showed you how to choose and begin achieving goals. Now you must learn how to let those dreams shape every part of your being. First, realize that once you set truly meaningful goals, you're no longer the same person. Your goals will impact nearly everything you do each day. Your handshake, your dress, your tone of voice, your worldview, everything changes when you have clear goals. This happens because when your goals matter to you, everything you do ties back to achieving them. But goals that truly drive you to take ownership of your life must be worthy. To have goals that can transform you, set them high enough to stretch and challenge you, high enough to ignite imagination and spur action. But just as you must set them high to stretch, you must avoid placing them so far beyond reach that you become discouraged before you start. 10. Investing in the future. The pursuit of knowledge is one of the strategies for wealth and happiness. How fruitful it is to spend your time on purposeful learning. Yet, like anything valuable, it demands a price, and that deters some. Pursuing knowledge requires certain investments. In fact, there are 3 types of investments you must make for a successful journey. First, you must invest money. Buying books, programs, attending seminars, all these cost money. That's why I recommend creating an educational fund. Each month, allocate a portion of your income to your learning pursuits. Spend money to awaken the giant within you. In this case, the price is small compared to the prospect, unlimited potential. More important than money is your next investment, time. Time is the primary investment. I understand that asking someone to spend money is one thing. Asking them to invest their own time is quite another. Alas, there are no shortcuts. Until machines can directly upload knowledge into our brains, time, precious time, will be required. 11. 3 spheres of self-development. In your quest for personal growth, 3 spheres demand attention: spiritual, physical, and mental. Spiritual development. I must confess I am no expert here. Growing up in a deeply faithful home, my father was a preacher, filled me with love for God's creation. But regardless of your background, this book is for people of every background and faith. You must decide what level of growth and change you want in this sphere. Spiritual and ethical values provide a firm foundation for your pursuit of wealth and happiness. Physical development. Scripture teaches that our bodies are temples. Indeed, Jewish hygiene laws were carefully crafted. Beyond hygiene, we must decide how to adorn our temple, that is, how to dress to reflect our desire for success. Our appearance significantly affects how we function in the marketplace. As the Bible says, we dress for people externally and for God internally. People judge by appearance first. God judges by the heart always. Another aspect of physical development is fitness. Body and mind work together. For your mind to remain strong, your body must stay in good shape. Do you have an exercise program? If not, find one and start. Also pay attention to diet and supplements. Mental development. For most, mental growth ends in early adulthood. Once they have a good job, many cease learning. Have you heard of the learning curve? From birth to 18, it climbs steeply, but once we find our niche, it flattens. In the past, if all you wanted was a middle-class life, that mindset sufficed. But today's world demands continuous growth and learning. 12. Self-motivation. You must find the right people rather than try to change the wrong ones. Yes, they can change themselves, but you and I cannot. People ask me, how do I find the right people? I answer, you attract the right people. That is the best advice I can give. Here's the first rule of effective management. Don't send ducks to eagle school. Why? Because it won't work. All you'll get are unhappy ducks, quacking away, wearing you out. I know, I tried. Recently I saw an ad in a hotel brochure. We don't teach our people integrity. It caught my eye. In fine print it said, we simply hire people with integrity. Brilliant. A smart, rational approach. Motivation is a mystery. Why does one salesperson greet the first client at 7 a.m. while another doesn't roll out of bed until 11? I really don't know. It's one of life's mysteries. 13. Achieving financial freedom. Money is an emotional topic, and most of us have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, we crave the security and comfort money offers. On the other, we fear financial success will corrupt our ethics. After all, television and movies often portray the rich as scheming villains. When was the last time you saw a show depicting a rich person as a good guy? In religious circles, you often hear, "The love of money is the root of all evil," wrongly quoted as, "Money is the root of all evil." Clearly, the correct biblical phrase has a different meaning. If you make money your love and chase wealth at the expense of other life values, you lose rather than gain. But consider this. If you can achieve more, should you not do so? In the time you devote to any profitable endeavor, shouldn't you strive to do your utmost? I believe the greatest satisfaction in life comes to those who make it a rule to do their very best with what they receive. In fact, doing less than you're capable of weighs on your psyche. We humans are entrepreneurial creatures. The seasons challenge us: soil, sun, rain, seed. They seem to urge us to utilize them. It's as if life and nature ask, "Can you do something remarkable with us?" We are the raw materials. What beautiful things will you create? As entrepreneurial beings, we should not resist striving for high productivity, fully using our God-given abilities, maximizing our potential in all areas of life, including wealth creation. That is life's essence. Smart people know that quantity is not what matters. Fully employing our talents is. If you master all the concepts in this book, you could rightly consider yourself an expert on the principles of wealth and happiness. So have no doubt, you could deliver a lecture on the philosophy of success and impress your audience. Yet you must do more in real life than just know theory. In a free enterprise system, you must act so that your affairs prosper. Only applied knowledge counts. So, Jim Rohn's 7 strategies: goal setting, constant growth, self-change, financial discipline, time management, strong environment, and fullness of life are the keys to your freedom and harmony. Write in the comments which of the strategies sounded most powerful for you, and how you will start applying it today. Like it if it was useful, and don't forget to subscribe to DeepMind. There are even more inspiring ideas ahead. See you in the next video.